Hey friends, Holden here in my studio, and I've got a question today. It's the age-old question among us electric guitar players. Am I really done with my pedal board? So, sitting here in front of me is my rig. I've had this rig for about 3 years without changing anything, and I've honestly loved it. Now, there has been some things that I've wanted to change, but I've just worked with, and that's the case with any rig. So yeah, we're gonna jump in. I'm gonna grab my guitar, and we're gonna take a look at what's happening down on my feet here. So here's my pedal board set up. So straight into the pedal board on the front right of the pedal board, I'm going into a Nano Pog, and you can't actually see it. It's underneath my pedal board, and I'm gonna show you that. I'm gonna grab my phone here. So there's a Nano Pog hidden underneath, and if I hit this button, you can actually see the LED. Kind of worked out great. So I can hit this button on top to turn it on and off. Now, something that a lot of people don't know is there are some pedals that have a button that allows you to solder the wires to a jack. So on the front of my Nano Pog, I don't actually have a button, I have a jack. And I took the button and put it in my little square box on top. So it just allowed me more space on the top of my board. So I can hit that on and off. Just there to thicken up lead lines if I need it. So yeah, we got the Nano Pog. That goes into my Ernie Ball VP Junior tuner, which I love. You know, saving some real estate here on the board with the tuner built into the volume pedal. Can't beat it. And I love how it gives you your volume level on the front. I did the lifetime string mod to this one, and so I'm never gonna have to worry about the string breaking. I do have to spray the internal pot with some deoxit every once in a while just because the pot gets sturdy. Probably needs to be sprayed now, but yeah, so I got my VP Junior tuner. That's going into my JHS Morning Glory. That's my first gain stage. Just to kind of jump all the way to the end of my chain, I'm running into the Tone X1s, and I'll show you guys that in a little while. But basically, I've got my Morning Glory here, first stage overdrive, just to give that crunch, that initial crunch. And then after that, I've got the SP compressor, and you'll notice I've got the Morning Glory running into the compressor. I actually experimented a lot with where the compressor was in the chain, and I found that the way the Morning Glory and the compressor reacts to one another in this order, I just liked that a lot better. The SP compressor kind of tames what's happening with the Morning Glory, and I've always felt like the Morning Glory was a little too opened, and so the compressor kind of helps tame the Morning Glory. So pretty much all the time I'm running the SP compressor on. Morning Glory with the SP compressor. Morning Glory without the SP compressor. Woo! Need to tune that. And to kind of backtrack a little bit, I'm playing my Gibson ES335 59 Reissue. This is my baby. I love this guitar. That's running into the King of Tone, and this is the high gain on the red side, but I actually have the red side set to, I believe, boost or overdrive. I can't remember. I do remember getting in there and messing around with all the settings, and I found that I like the red side to be cleaner than the yellow side. So here is the King of Tone with the SP compressor. A little bit more of a cleaner tone. I just love what the King of Tone does. It retains pretty much, you know, what you hear from the guitar, but it just makes it better in every way. So my go-to sound as far as drives are Morning Glory, SP compressor, and the red side of the King of Tone. Now, I subtract a drive from here to get a cleaner sound, or I add to get a little bit more dirt. So on the Morning Glory, I've got the button at the top there for the gain switch. Can get more dirt there. Or I can hit the yellow side, boost that up. Just depending on what flavor I want, you know, I'll kick on the King of Tone Yellow side or the Morning Glory gain switch. The Morning Glory gain switch to me has a little bit more mid-range punch, and then the King of Tone gives you more of that scooped dirt sound. All right, going into the Ibanez DE7, I actually use this pedal quite a bit, more like a reverb. And again, this is the slot where I will maybe change a pedal in and out. Like I said, more like a reverb. So I've got the delay time set really fast, and then the repeats set pretty much right at the point where it starts to self-oscillate. You know, without it getting crazy, you know. And what I love about this pedal is how the self-oscillation works. It kind of artificially creates guitar feedback when you have, like, you know, the guitar and the amp relationship. And I love that because most of the time I'm running direct with the Tone X1s. And so if I need something to kind of give me that feedback kind of sound, I'll hit that for a second and it kind of gives me that. But yeah, so the DE7, if Ibanez ever reissues that pedal, I'm first in line. I love that pedal. Going out of the DE7, we're going into the Chroma console. So I pretty much run the doubler effect all the time. It's set to a very subtle setting. But it kind of gives you a little bit more depth. The two pedals I'm going to run all the time are the SP Compressor and the Chroma console with the doubler. And then I've got the dual bypass set up to give me this reverse octave delay. Usually use that for a big washy sound with a lot of reverb. It sounds really cool. It kind of gives you that shimmer effect. But again, the Chroma console, I love that pedal. It's a multi-effects. It can do a whole lot. I would go into the depth on that one just because it's so cool. But we're going through the whole board, so I'm going to move on. One thing to say about the Chroma console, I built this wooden frame, and most of it is utility because where it sits in front of my Morningstar MC3, the buttons, the way the Chroma console is set up is it's at an angle, and so the buttons were not accessible behind the Morningstar MC3. So I built this frame to hold it up parallel to my other pedals, and I can now hit the buttons. And then the wood sides are just for look. So I really love how that turned out. That's going into the Walrus Audio M1 Mako series. I love the Mako series because of how small they are and how versatile they are. So I oftentimes will control them with MIDI. So I've got some presets here that might kick on like a tremolo into a chorus. But on the flip side of that, I can change presets on the pedal just by hitting both foot switches. So I can have 3 sounds ready to go on that pedal. If I'm in a pinch and I don't have time to set up a preset, then I can just flip to my presets in the M1, which is a really nice feature. I love the layout of those pedals. That's going into the Strymon L cap. This delay is incredible. I pretty much just look for like a tape delay when I'm using delays. I love this pedal so much. So we're gonna go back here. Just a simple dotted eighth. Gives you that nice warble, and then I love how wide the L cap sounds. It's such a cool delay. So yeah, the L cap is a great delay pedal. If I do need like the digital delay sound, then I will go to my DE7 and switch it to the delay setting instead of the echo setting, and that's like the digital delay kind of thing. And then if you look at my DE7, I've got some marks on the top for specific songs that I want to have like a big digital dotted eighth kind of sound, and that thing gets it. You know, being a mono pedal, the way that one feeds into the L cap and does a stereo thing with it, man, it's such a cool sound having those run into each other. All right, so after the L cap, we go to the R1. Again, the Mako series, highly recommend it. just for how small they are and how versatile the pedals are. So I've got like a pretty big plate on this blue channel. I've got a bigger reverb on the red preset. And then after the R1, we go into the generation loss. Man, I love this pedal. It gives you like that, kind of like the tape warble kind of sound. I have it set up to give me a lot more drive as well. And one thing I really like about this pedal, and I use it every once in a while, is this aux switch. I've got it set to kind of like fade out really quick. And it can come back in. Super cool pedal. I don't get to use it as often as I'd like to, but it's there if I need it. And then lastly, we've got the Tone X1s. Now, if you look at my pedal board here, my Tone X1s are wedged in between my rails on my pedal train. So if you're running Tone X1s and you got a pedal train, they will fit like a glove from underneath if you push them inside the rails. And so the way I've got mine set up here gives me a lot more room on my pedal board. And then if you look in between the two pedals, I've got some USB-C right angle adapters, allowing me to plug in my pedals without taking them out, because where you plug them in is at the bottom of the pedal, and so that makes it a whole lot easier to plug those in. I'm running some captures that I did myself. I've got a 65 Bassman on my left, and I've got a 78 Twin on my right. Love the combination. These are amps I've got in the studio. The 65 Bassman is running into a JBL 112, and then my 78 Twin is a translinear twin, so it's 135 watts versus the standard 85 watt. And it's got a master volume, so you can really push that one, into breakup, which is a really good thing on a twin to have. Those things are loud. But yeah, I love how those sound together. And then after that, we go into this little side box. I've got, I think it was a company called Runway Audio that made this little box, and I did some mods to it. But basically, I've got my Tone X1s going straight to that. And then I put a USB adapter on the side, and that runs straight to my Morningstar MC3. So if I'm making presets, I don't have to take my pedal off to access the port on the back. It's already plugged in, and I just plug into the side of my board, which is super handy. Yeah, here's the rig. I haven't changed it in 3 years. I love it. To answer the question, no, I don't think I am done with my pedal board. I think that's the answer for everybody. It's always fun to change things up, and I do see myself doing that in the future. I would say for right now, this is the rig, and I'm gonna keep using it until I feel the need to change something. I have gotten to a point where I feel comfortable with it, and I don't feel the need to change anything. If I do want to add, I'll take that back. I have found myself in a situation where I want to have a fuzz on the very front of my chain, and usually I'll just bring a fuzz pedal with me and put it, on the side of my board there, and that works out great. And another thing I want to integrate eventually is the Morningstar loop switcher, the MIDI controlled loop switcher. I just haven't gotten to the point where I feel like I have time to program presets for my drives. So I usually do a little bit of tap dancing with drives and then with presets on the MC3. So I don't know, I like to keep it fun, stay on my toes in that way. So I forgot to do a gut shot. Here is the underside of my pedal board. This is the Runway Audio box. Got left and right out, my USB port here. I've got the Strymon Zuma and Ojai combo going. Here's my Tone X pedals wedged in between my rails. So if you notice, they are supported by some zip ties and zip tie mounts there. I did screw those in because the zip ties are pulling directly away from the pedal board with those mounts, so I did screw those in to keep those in place. A lot of cabling going on. Here's my Nano Pog. I found these little metal straps and kind of formed them around the Nano Pog to hold that in place and screwed it into the frame, and so that's how that is mounted. Yeah, some spaghetti underneath. But yeah, that's the gut shot. But yeah, that's my rig. Like and subscribe. I am going to try to post more on YouTube, and it'll be a little tricky. Got a growing family and time is limited, so my goal is to try to do a video a month. It might not be like a super in-depth video. That is the goal. So if you liked this video, please consider subscribing and giving me a thumbs up.